In a remote corner of a cold, red world, a 1-meter-long rock, half hidden among the dust of an ancient riverbed, has begun to tell a story that could rewrite our understanding of life in the universe. There, in the heart of Jezero crater, the Perseverance rover recorded a clue, perhaps fleeting, perhaps revolutionary. Tiny pale spots rimmed by dark halos, scattered across the surface of what has been called Sayava Falls. At first glance, they look like nothing more than simple geological formations. And yet, under closer observation, they reveal themselves as complex structures, made up of minerals such as greigite and vivianite. It is within this sophisticated chemistry that an age-old question arises. What if they are not just rocks? The implications of this discovery are subtle yet potentially titanic. Because greigite and vivianite are not just exotic names in mineralogy. They are compounds that, on Earth, often form in the presence of biological processes. In aquatic environments, particularly in oxygen-poor settings such as lake beds or ocean floors, these minerals can emerge as byproducts of biochemical reactions mediated by microbes. In other words, in some contexts, they are chemical signatures of life. The fact that similar structures are found on Mars opens a spectrum of possibilities. Not a confirmation, but a window. A possibility that life, even if only microbial, once existed on another planet in the solar system. And here we are no longer talking about broad theories or hypothetical astrobiology. We are talking about data, concrete, material, obtained with sophisticated instruments designed precisely to identify traces of past life. All of this took place in a geologically exceptional area, Jezero crater, a place that millions of years ago hosted a river delta. We know that water, a vital ingredient for life as we know it, once flowed on Mars between 4 and 3 billion years ago. This is demonstrated by chemical, sedimentological, and morphological traces scattered everywhere: fossilized riverbeds, layered deposits, hydrated minerals. And in that same period, life was taking shape on Earth. The temporal analogy is fascinating. If two neighboring planets, born from the same primordial nebula, experienced similar conditions in the same era, why did one generate life and not the other? Or perhaps both did, but on Mars it lasted too briefly to leave unambiguous traces? The discovery of Sayava Falls is not isolated. Perseverance has already identified several sedimentary rocks containing organic molecules, especially mudstone, a type of rock formed by the compaction of silica and clay-rich mud transported by ancient waterways. These molecules are not life, but they are its raw material. Organic compounds are found throughout the solar system, from comets to meteorites, but finding them in geologically life-friendly environments is something different. It is like finding a pile of wood stacked in a cave. Not proof of a fire, but it makes you wonder who put it there. Sayava Falls, in particular, stands out for the concentration and distribution of these signals. The so-called leopard spots, those pale formations ringed by dark edges, are chemically complex. Within them, in addition to the iron and sulfur typical of greigite and the phosphorus of vivianite, researchers detected elements such as zinc, often involved in biological processes on Earth. It is not only their composition that raises questions, but also the context in which they are found. These structures were not transported there, but formed in situ, within the heart of the ancient delta, in an environment rich in chemical energy and fluvial dynamics. And here comes the scientific dilemma. Are we facing biosignatures? Or abiotic geochemical phenomena? The dark halos surrounding the spots strikingly resemble what, on Earth, are known as reduction halos, produced in anaerobic environments by iron and sulfur-reducing bacteria. Yet there are also purely inorganic processes, such as thermochemical reduction or interaction with hydrothermal fluids, capable of generating similar patterns. Science does not live on absolute certainties but on testable hypotheses. In this case, we stand on the edge between two scenarios, one biological and one non-biological. And at present, we do not have enough data to definitively rule one out. Martian rocks speak to us, but not in our language. We must listen with better instruments, under more controlled conditions, perhaps here on Earth, through a sample return mission which, however, remains stalled by budget cuts and political decisions. It is precisely here that the scientific narrative intertwines with the political and institutional one, carrying this beyond simple geological questions, because planetary science today, more than ever, is a battlefield between curiosity and resources, between extraordinary possibilities and electoral deadlines. The Mars Sample Return Mission, designed to bring back to Earth the samples collected by Perseverance, is technically ambitious, scientifically indispensable, yet suspended in a cloud of financial uncertainty. NASA, caught between strategic priorities and budget cuts, is forced to choose between the public allure of human missions, more spectacular, more political, and the slow, silent depth of robotic explorations, which, however, are the ones capable of truly changing what we know. It is not hard to understand why proclaiming with emphasis, possible traces of life, on Mars can serve a purpose, even if the underlying science is far more cautious. Words matter, especially when directed to an audience that still dreams of Mars as humanity's next chapter. And yet, amid the media enthusiasm, there is a risk of burning the credibility of the scientific method. Because claiming to have found traces of life suggests a certainty that, in reality, we do not yet possess. It is a premature promise. A communicative stretch, perhaps understandable, but potentially harmful. As things stand, Sayava Falls does not tell us that there was life on Mars. It tells us that there, in the past, something very particular happened. That in that rock, minerals typical of habitable environments were formed. That certain observed patterns resemble those generated by life on Earth. But it also tells us that they could have been generated by geochemical processes with no biological component whatsoever. It is a hint, not proof. The beauty of this uncertainty, however, is that it opens new paths. For the first time, it is no longer just about searching. It is about choosing how to continue. This is the moment when science turns into strategy. Bringing those samples back to Earth would allow them to be analyzed with techniques thousands of times more sophisticated than those available on the rover. Researchers could look for stable isotopes, complex organic structures, microfossils. In short, true astrobiology could be done. But this endeavor is not simple. Not only because of the technical difficulty of collecting, sealing, protecting, and returning those samples without contaminating them. It is also difficult because it requires long-term vision, an economic and political investment in a result that may arrive in 10 or 20 years. And that may even be negative. We might bring back those samples and discover that there is nothing biological in them. That would still be an extraordinary result, but not the kind of answer that makes headlines. All this leads us to a broader reflection. Are we ready to accept ambiguous, long-term answers in the field of extraterrestrial research? Or are we so hungry for answers that we turn every clue into truth, every possibility into certainty? The exploration of Mars is not only a technological challenge. It is a cultural one. Every rock, every grain of dust analyzed by Perseverance tells a piece of the story of a world that once had rivers, lakes, perhaps oceans. A world that, billions of years ago, may have hosted life. The real question today is not only whether life was there, but whether we are capable of recognizing it. Whether we are ready to interpret ambiguous signals with clarity, without succumbing to the temptation of sensationalism. Sayava Falls, with its mysterious spots and organic molecules, places us at a crossroads. On one side, the possibility of having found the first extraterrestrial biosignature in history. On the other, a fascinating geological phenomenon devoid of life. In between lies the patient work of science, advancing step by step, often in the shadows, often amid the criticism of those who crave faster, more definitive answers. But perhaps it is precisely this slowness, this patience, that makes the search for life on Mars so profoundly human. It is not only about exploring another planet. It is about understanding ourselves, our limits, our desires, our hunger for knowledge. Because ultimately, when we look at that rock on Mars, we are not only searching for fossilized microbes. We are searching for our place in the universe. And who knows, perhaps one day, in a terrestrial laboratory, someone will analyze one of those samples collected by Perseverance and truly discover something unexpected. Not just traces, but a story, an imprint, a signature. And in that moment, the millennia-old silence of Mars will be broken forever. If you have made it this far, it means you love curiosity as much as we do. If you enjoyed this journey, leave a like, write a comment, and subscribe to the channel. It is the best way to support what we do. Your presence truly makes a difference. Until the next exploration.